There are so many things that have kept me from asking questions throughout my life. Shame for not already knowing something, a stubborn reluctance to rely on others for information, or often an internalized belief that I should have it all together in this perfect independence. And though I still struggle with each of these things, I have also found a beautiful freedom when I step into the vulnerability of asking questions. For one, more often than not, people are not expecting the same thing from us that we are often expecting from ourselves. They are not perturbed by our questions like we fear they might be. Instead, when we ask questions, we are demonstrating the beautiful mutuality of relying on one another. We are constantly learning from one another, whether it be just general information, all the way to the intimate details of how each individual moves throughout the world. And in that bravery it takes to ask questions, we encourage a culture of curiosity and humility. We have the chance to lean in. As Brené Brown says, we're not here to be right, we're here to get it right. And one of the biggest ways we can do this is to ask good questions of one another. When we bravely say, I don't know, we are making space for the people around us to bravely say that too. I can remember many classrooms in my life when one person would be brave enough to raise their hand and ask the teacher something, then everyone else in the room would breathe a collective sigh of relief. There was an unspoken, yes, me too, that united people together in those classrooms, and I think it still does today. I also think about the power of mystery in our faith right now. There were moments in my learning and unlearning that I was desperate for someone to say it was okay for me to ask questions. I needed them to be a safe space like my family was when I was a child. It turns out, as you get older, sometimes women who ask scary questions are no longer the cute children they once were, but instead are considered quite dangerous to some people. I started to ask, why are women systematically objectified and kept out of leadership? And why isn't the church doing something about it? Why is racism a thread throughout the history of our country? And why isn't the church doing something about it? What if Scripture isn't meant to be used as a weapon, especially toward the most marginalized, like the LGBTQ plus community? And why isn't the church doing something about it? And in all of these things, and so many more, why is the church often the very system perpetuating all of that hurt and trauma? I dream of a time when the church all over the world is a place where all feel safe and safe to question. What would happen to the church if we gave each other permission to ask without fear and without shame?